Let's begin our day. SEC meetings in Destin. Things that caught my attention. Things of note and interest. Me, probably you too. Yesterday we had Olin Buchanan. He joined us at 1 from Destin. And Mike Elko, when he was on the podium, he commanded presence. He was entertaining, interesting, matter-of-factual, and kind of stated the reality of things. He was good. Other coaches and an other coaches and a commissioner, Greg Sankey, also said some things of note. Steve Sarkisian, the Longhorn head coach, had spent most of this spring, going with a full heel turn, taking shots at Ole Miss, taking shots at Texas Tech, and kind of unprompted too. It's a good look if you can wear it. When you're going to be the University of Texas head coach, I think that you can wear the black cowboy hat easily, and you've got the support and resources to do it well. Yesterday, Sark kind of backed it up a little bit. I think it's a horrible look if you're going to take shots at people and then try and crawfish and try and backpedal on them. If you're going to commit to being the heel, commit fully. Yesterday, Sark said that the SEC did not punish him over his recent comments about basket weaving and the requirements to get a degree from Ole Miss. He conceded, however, that he made a poor choice of words. Very oddish for me in the base concept of he didn't say he was wrong, that it was easier to get a degree at Ole Miss than Texas. He didn't say that his concept was bad or the statement was inaccurate. He said that underwater basket weaving was a poor choice of words. I kind of feel like he was trying to say he didn't mean to insult the underwater basket weaving community. He didn't say underwater. I always had said that in my life when I wanted to insult someone, but basket weaving is what he said. That's what I really felt like he was saying, that he didn't mean to insult basket weavers. But yeah, he meant to insult Ole Miss, but he went wishy-washy. If you're going to be Darth Sark, you're the Texas head coach. I think the Longhorn alumni base that supports him and supports football and just got money has no problem with wearing the black hat. If you win, it's all good. I'm going to tell you something that entertained me highly. So Sark makes the basket weaving comment about the ease of a degree at Ole Miss. I love the whole Twitter social universe we live in because somebody decided to cast their gaze upon the Longhorn football program. And they got something like 49 football players have no degree declared. And another 19 have one of those. It's all the same degree, but it's like general wallpaper studies. It's one of those nothing degrees. So Sark is talking about, the standards of Texas and to get a degree there. And someone on the social universe looks at the Longhorn football program, and in the end, they have 68 of their football players are undeclared or getting wallpaper studies degrees. He who cast the first stone should be careful. I forget how it goes, but yeah, glass houses, brother. Glass houses, man. That's fun. That's the world we live in. 68 of his football players are basically not majoring in anything at all, is the bottom line. Continuing, SEC, the meetings in Destin. Things wrapped up yesterday with Commissioner Sankey announcing that the athletic directors voted, and starting in 2027, we no longer have Cupcake Saturday. The next to last weekend of the regular season, not everybody, I think there was one league game or two. Over the years, there's been more because it used to be like nobody. But the SEC would play out of conference in the last weekend. And because almost the rest of the world was playing in conference, you had this horrific, putrid, nasty schedule of games. Playing one AA, one AAA, playing schools that you didn't know existed. It was bad. Cupcake weekend. The logic behind it was that everybody played a rival the next weekend. The rival behind it was 2 weeks later. The elites were going to play in the SEC championship game. So it was a great time to have a bye week without actually being off. You could play guys that were going to redshirt. You were going to rest guys that were needed for the final push. Rivalry plus SEC championship. Rest guys for the push. I would argue it was a signature of the SEC. Now, the rest of the nation seemed to suffer from a high state of agitation, but it worked for the SEC. No more. Starting in 2027, no more cupcake weekend. It's just going to be another week of league play is what it's going to be. And I don't understand why they eliminated it. I'm not going to lie to you. I read the 2 paragraphs explaining why, and I can't repeat what went through my head because it's all language that you can't use on the airwaves. It's stuff that would get me fired. I noticed this trend by the SEC, whether it's the ADs or the commissioner, but why is the SEC in such a rush to be like every other conference? Hey, let's go to 9 games. And I do know that basically 9 games is how Sankey got outmaneuvered by the Big Ten. Because the SEC, Commissioner Sankey, wanted a 16-team playoff. The Big Ten said, well, if you go to 9 league games like we are, and the ACC are, or others are, then we'll do 16. So the SEC went to 9, and guess what? Big Ten said, nah, we don't want 16 anyway. The SEC got outplayed. But still, SEC was always 8. SEC dominated college football under 8. The SEC at one time, for those of us that can remember back to all of 5 years ago, the SEC was the elite, the premier college football league. No other 2 conferences combined were better than the SEC in football. But now the SEC is rushing to be like everyone else. Let's go to 9 too. And it's little things like, okay, the rest of the world has complained about Cupcake Weekend, so we're going to get rid of it. For what purpose? To appease who? Who cares what the rest of the world thinks? The SEC had a formula that it spent a decade and a half, if not 2 decades, producing 4 out of 5 years the national champion, producing the most valuable conference and league. It worked. Who cared what anyone else said? Sticks and stones, stick them up. Oh, yeah, you can't say that. Who cares? But now the SEC wants to be everyone else. And I don't think it's coincidental. Oh, I know, NIL, 2 transfer portals, 1 transfer portals. I get that the whole world has changed. Okay? But I don't think it helps that you're now playing the same game as everyone else, where the SEC used to be cutting edge. The SEC is the one that set the pace, set the standard. Now the SEC is actually just going back in time in so many little ways to be like everyone else. Yeah, we'll go to 9. They're at 9. We'll be 9 too. Yeah, cupcakes. I know everyone's complaining. We're with them. We're going to stop it too. So I would love to see the SEC start the trend, be the trend, and not care about the rest of the world as opposed to compliance with the rest of the world. And I had one other thought when I heard that yesterday about no more Cupcake Weekend. I think all of us now have a pretty firm grip on Aggie football 2026. If you're playing OU And then the next Friday on short rest, you're playing Texas. If you're an Aggie football fan this year, what is Cupcake Weekend for 1,000, Alex? A&M football is not participating in Cupcake Weekend this year because it's OU on Cupcake Weekend and then short week because it's Friday, not Saturday, Texas later. There's no Cupcake Weekend in the Aggie football universe. So just a randomish Lou observation. Now, there's a couple other things that stood out to me from Destin yesterday. Again, Mike Elko really held court, but there was another person who did. And I feel like he's the coach that has replaced Nick Saban as that elder statesman. It's Kirby Smart. Two things he commented about. One, he would not object to the SEC breaking away, and breaking away in a couple of ways, to play by their own rules and to start their own self-governance. He'd have no problem with either one of those. And it stands out for two reasons, because other coaches are like, why do you ask me? Because our voice doesn't count. Kirby Smart's still willing to state how he feels, even though he knows it doesn't count too. And B, the whole play by our own rules thing, I don't know why, and I know it'll never happen, at least while I'm alive, but the idea of the SEC breaking away, adding 16 more teams, become the NFL, your own 32 league. Split into 2 16s, have a Super Bowl at the end. I think ESPN, and remember ESPN is not kind of right in the head when it comes to sports anymore, would buy it. They would pay for that. They're already in bed with and own everything SEC. It's the craziest of them all, but at some point there's a breaking point with the gridlock. And think about it. The SEC could take the Big 12. You'd have to add maybe 2-3 more schools. 32-team league. Not a division. No. 32-team league. And you just play an NFL schedule. Completely radical and different. And the governance thing, I think, is the most obvious thing of them all. You keep trying to drag the NCAA along, and it doesn't work. It'll never work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The self-governance thing. Now, remember something, by the way. If each of the two conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten, each do self-governance, it's done. You can never have any agreement on anything again if they both do their own self-governance as opposed to one. But Kirby Smart doesn't mind commenting on things, even though nobody listens to us. So he's taken over that Nick Saban role. Things that stood out to me too. When we return, Chip Howard joins me inside the Charles Schwab studio. We hang out, we catch up each week. This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Wednesday on The Zone.
Make sure to get the podcast of TexAgs Live, the Louie Bellina Show, or Chip Howard Sports Talk Daily at zone1150.com and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Wednesdays, I check in, catch up, hang out with Chip Howard Sports Talk. How you doing, Chip?
Hey, Lou.
I wanted to ask you this or check in with you about this because you might be the only person in Bryan College Station, the Brazos Valley, to have any reaction or share this holy Torbush wow with me. But how did the Avalanche get swept? In all of sports this year, that is the most shocking thing I've seen this year.
It's crazy. Not only that, they couldn't score goals, which is really crazy. They had some injuries. Everybody does. We talk about it all the time. But Cale Makar not being there was just really a big deal. I mean, you say, well, how does one player... but we know one player can make a difference. This guy's one of the top 3 or 4 players in hockey.
But a sweep? Losing a series in the playoffs is not exactly a newsflash. They're the best team in hockey, but still... in the Stanley Cup playoffs, anybody can lose.
Yeah.
But they got swept, Chip.
I didn't see it. Honestly, I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming.
And you know what drives me crazy? This is the beauty of hockey. But going into the playoffs this year, if you want to make money, you should always put some money on Vegas. They're a great playoff type team. This is the year I dismissed them because I thought they were so mediocre-ish in the regular season.
Right.
And that was my mistake. Because, again, what did I just say? You can always make money with them in the playoffs. And they're going to the finals. But yet the Stars go out in the first round. Lance gets swept. Vegas goes to the finals. Hockey makes no sense. This is the craziest year because all those things were true and none of it should have been true. Not one of the things I just said should be true. The Stars never should have got eliminated in the first round. Vegas should not be in the Cup finals. And the Lance never should get swept. They can lose, but never should have been swept. Nothing I said should be true. I can't deal with it.
I
have suffered since the Stars lost, and now everything I just said is true.
It's been
that's how hockey go.
It's been tough without having the Stars.
It's been hard, but and then the rest of this, how is Vegas? No, the Vegas can do it, but the Stars can't.
Yeah, I don't know because they knocked them out 3 years ago and then won the Cup, in the finals. And I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, one last hockey question, and we'll move on. But are you going to go to the Stadium Series in Arlington, February 20th?
I am seriously considering that for sure. Without question, I'm considering it. Also, I'm heading up for the big Astros Rangers finale
Thursday
tomorrow night.
Are you going?
And then going to the Colonial golf tournament on Friday.
You have a great sports weekend.
I do.
How can you show your face after the Rangers were hit? No hit for the sixth time in franchise history. Third time at Globe Life Field.
So what I said was, and I don't, I don't know if Monday night was rock bottom or not for this season. I kind of think probably not.
You think it can get worse?
I think it can.
Wow.
With this team. I don't know what to think.
Saime,
this is a team.
Okert, and Santa.
Three pitchers nobody's ever heard of and have never done anything. The third one that closed it with 2 perfect innings was his major league debut. I get all of that. Then they come out and score 8 runs last night in the first inning. You go, wow, what a great response for a team that was just terrible the night before. What a great response. And then Houston proceeds to hit about 7,000 feet of home runs the rest of the game.
And Jordan hit 6,000 of those feet.
Well, he was 870 feet for 2 home runs. And I thought, well, you can't get any better than that. But then the last 2, one of them went to a place I've never seen at Globe Life Field in left center in the second deck. I've never seen that. And then the last one was 450 feet to straight center field. So, yeah, it could get worse.
Yordan Alvarez hit 2 bombs. Jeremy Pena hit his first of the year. And when Cam Smith goes yard on you...
Cam Smith is the one that hit the one...
450. But Cam Smith, I don't know why he's still up. The Astros refuse to do any minor league development with him, but maybe it's too late at this point the way it's worked out. But... as an Astro fan, they won 4 straight, so they made my year. Right now, they're dominating the battle for the boot, so I couldn't be happier. But the no-hitter, I just said things that shouldn't have happened, like Stars losing. No-hitting with Jaime, Okert, and Santa.
If you've watched the Ranger team at all, you know that that's a possibility even with that pitching staff because... they just cannot hit the ball.
Are they on any given night kind of team that can get no hit by anybody? Just on any given night?
Absolutely. I was looking at their no hit, records over the years, and it's been a little while, but they were no hit twice in one season, and that could be the case this year. And you understand there hadn't been a no hitter since September of 24 in the big leagues. I mean, it's been really rare.
Not one last year at all.
Not one, which is really rare. But, hey, this Ranger team is going to set a lot of records this year.
How has it gotten so bad? How has it been that many misses? Has it been GM malfeasance? How has it gotten this bad?
Well, your 2 top hitters haven't hit at all. And then, I look at Evan Carter, and I compared him last year or 2 years ago. You know, they don't win the world title without him. And I compared him to an up-and-coming Josh Hamilton, just in size, strength,
Drug problems?
speed. Maybe that's the issue. I mean, this guy has so much physical ability, and he's hovering at the Mendoza line. Now, you know, last night he homered, tripled, and singled, right?
178 on the year.
Yeah, well, so he's below the
He'd
Mendoza
kill to be
line.
Mendoza.
Yeah. But they have several players in their regular lineup like that, right? So they just can't hit the baseball.
Do they need a new direction from the front office?
Yeah, I'm not ready to say that
You assemble
yet.
this roster.
Yes, but they assembled the roster with some pretty hard parameters than what they've had in the past, Lou.
You're talking about financially.
Financially, yeah, absolutely. They did what they could do with the you know, the guardrails that were given, and it wasn't very good. And so you get what you pay for, and I'm hesitant to put all that on Chris Young.
No, that's fair. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. He within the parameters he had, he did pretty well.
Yeah.
But that means they were doomed before he even started.
That is correct, which I believe from the beginning.
Long summer ahead for Astro
Long
Ranger
summer,
fan.
man.
Astro
Long
Ranger
summer.
fans.
Even Rusty Burson has told me he's not going to watch all the games this summer, and I'm
okay,
just
I don't believe him.
I don't believe him
Yeah,
either.
come on.
I don't believe him either. We'll see what happens.
Tough guy talk. Ain't happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, maybe he'll only watch 8 innings instead of 9. That's the deepest protest I could see from
Yeah,
him.
maybe so.
He's going to watch.
You know, it was 8-0. I turned that, you know, I'm flipping back and forth, but I was watching hockey. Obviously, it's the playoffs, and this Montreal Carolina series Monday night was maybe the best game in the playoffs so far. I mean, all the playoffs.
Some of the Stars Wild games were still the best games of the playoffs still.
They were good games, no doubt. No doubt.
I don't want to talk anymore hockey. Just please don't do this to me.
It's okay.
I can't understand what happened. I just know
I don't either.
the Stars cannot cash in. And this window's so closing,
The window's
too.
closing, yeah.
It's closing hard.
Yeah, well, if they don't re-sign Robertson, that's a problem.
Wait, you think there's a chance they don't?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think there's a chance Robertson might choose to not resign.
Well, there's a chance they may get outbid. You know, I'm sure they have a number, and it's like, hey, if you're going to pay that number, good luck, because we ain't paying it. And that could very well happen.
If that's real, then the Stars need to rebuild
that's
now.
you know, I talked to Razor a couple of weeks ago, and that's what he told me. So
there should be no number. They have to resign him no matter what.
they need to.
Okay, or there's no point. They
All
can't
right.
go forward without him.
Yeah.
At this point,
We'll see.
there is no C. C or C not. There is no C not. Sorry, this has to go forward. But before I let you go, you been paying attention to anything from Destin?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm talking to Kirk Bowles tomorrow. He's down there.
Who?
So we'll have him on the show tomorrow because Friday is Aggie baseball.
You going?
To Aggie baseball?
Yeah.
No, I told you I'm going to the Colonial.
I thought you'd come back.
I can't.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a long. I used to go to all the golf
Me
tournaments.
too. And you
through
know what? This
Texas.
is the first time. I don't know how many years in a row under the Colonial, 30, maybe more, you know, and I hit them all and I enjoyed it. But there just came a time it was just too much. And this is my first trip back in a while. Looking forward to it.
I used to go to the Nelson,
Yeah.
Colonial,
Absolutely.
Houston Open, and
Yeah.
for people that don't know, like
Hey, I'm going to the PGA next year. It's at It's at Frisco at the new PGA facility.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
For people that have never been, and you're like, oh my god, you went? No. Golf
pretty
tournaments
cool.
are so much cooler than people understand.
It's pretty cool.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
casual.
Yeah.
Whether you follow a group or
Yeah.
you camp out on a hole.
It's not
and-
like football. You can get close to these guys, right? You could be 10 feet away and watch them hit shots.
My mind was blown the first time I ever watched a PGA pro hit a golf shot.
Yeah.
It was nothing like you've ever seen on. It's not the same thing.
No, different
Watching it in
sound,
person
too.
is just like, why did that go so slow?
Different sound. Yeah, everything.
And
Yeah.
the crowds are awesome.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
And it's been too long for me.
Yeah.
I used to go to the Houston Open minimum
Oh, yeah.
every year for like 20
Oh, I
years
did
or
too.
30 years.
I did too.
Then they started moving it all over the place.
They moved it all over the
and
place.
It lost its
They've
aura.
moved the Nelson all over the place. They've certainly done that. And we may not be seeing that tournament as part of the rotation anymore.
No way.
Well, I believe it may come down to the Colonial versus the Nelson because they're redoing everything. These high events. They're asking $30 million a year from their sponsors. Well, the Nelson just got a good sponsorship, but it's $10 million a year. You understand?
Yeah, so tripling's not really in the cards.
They're asking to triple that, and they're going, well, we can't. We're not doing. We can't do that, and so. I don't know what's going to happen because that tournament goes back over 70 years, and the Colonial obviously is a classic as well. They have to have an event at DFW. There's 8 million people there. They have to. If it comes down to it, my guess is the Colonial's going to win out.
They've got the 30 mil.
Well, they've got Schwab behind them, so I
got money.
I think they do.
Chip, what do you got today? What do you got today?
I'm Scott Clendenin will be with me today. I'm still putting a couple of things together. I'm not exactly sure in that first couple of segments yet. I'm working on it. I think one of the things we'll have is Kirby Smart from down in Destin. He's got some good things to say about scheduling. I really like that, so we may hear a little bit from that.
He had a lot of good things to say about a lot of things.
He did. But
he's taken over the Saban role.
So did Elko. Yes, he has.
He's taken over the Saban role.
But so did Elko too.
Yeah, he did. They were very different from each other while they both had things to say.
A little
Elko,
bit. But I loved Elko. It's like, hey, why are you asking us anything? We got no say in this.
But yet, Kirby Smart actually said something.
He did.
There's a difference.
Maybe.
There's a difference.
Well, he's earned it. Yeah. Right? He's been there a little longer, and he's got some skins on the wall, so he's earned it.
I know. It's fascinating. And Drinkwitz is busy telling jokes.
Right.
Sark is busy backpedaling. I mean,
right.
It's fascinating if you look at all of it. You can't look at, I think, any one alone. When you look at all the coaches together, you learn who they are and who the SEC is.
Yeah.
I loved it to death. Thank you, Chipper.
Okay, Lou.
When we return, I don't know. We'll figure it out together. This is the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio, Wednesday on The Zone.
Your home for Texas A&M football is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. The Zone.
Want to go to the Diamond, MLB, and more. I saw this list, the whole internet world we live in, called ranking MLB fan bases by how much they've suffered. And it is the worst, dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. Ranking MLB fan bases by how much they've suffered. Right off the bat, their top tier has never had to suffer a day in their life. And I don't know, it's got to be intentionally trolled because they put the Houston Astros on there. I grew up in Houston, and if you don't think Astro fans have never suffered a day in their life, having to, getting stuck behind the Braves dynasty in the 90s, being so close in the 80s. Sure, the Astros just got done with the dynasty. This is so short-sighted now. It's wrong. It's never had to suffer a day in their life, and they have the Astros on that tier. And this is intentionally troll. That is wrong. Could not be more wrong. Oh, hell, that is wrong. And then they have don't suffer often, but they deserve to. They have the New York Mets. I'm not a Mets fan. I'm not a hater either, by the way. Mets fans, I think, live in eternal hell. How many years in a row have they been picked that this is the year and they end up just being awful? No. You can't have the Mets on a don't suffer. I think Mets fans suffer yearly. Every other year, mid. So, no. And they've got the San Diego Padres on don't suffer often, but they deserve to. Padre fans are tortured, teased. No. I'll tell you my favorite tier. No fans, so how could they suffer? And they got the Minnesota Twins on there, and the Twins do have fans. I don't know. So that's the thing. I haven't updated. I don't know about Twin fans today. They have Tampa Bay on there. Accurate. They have Baltimore. Is that true about Baltimore? No fans, so how could they suffer? Because at one time, The Oreos, not the cookies, the birds. Baltimore, they had fans. Do they exist in a state of non-fandom now? And then my favorite tier of all of them, which is dead last, is the always suffer but deserve better. And they do have some, Pittsburgh, Detroit. They say the A's. Why do the A's deserve better? They do always suffer, but Kansas City, they do deserve better. Kansas City is some salt of the ground, loyal. The fans of Kansas City never did a thing to deserve what's happened to them. They are the, look in the dictionary, poster child of always suffer but deserve better. And Detroit and Pittsburgh too. Pittsburgh at one time was a legendary great sports town. They still are a great sports town, but baseball fandom and some carpetbag vagabond owners, man. There's one team on the always suffer but deserve better list, Colorado Rockies. Don't ask the why, but I got in early on Colorado when they were in expansion. I had 3 friends that were all Rocky fans, so I knew way too much rock pile. I went down there for the All-Star game in Denver, and the Colorado Rocky fans, not Mile House Stadium, but the Rocky Stadium, the experience, it's just incredible. You fall in love just by glancing by. And for it to be so futile for so long now, ain't right, man. Ain't right. But you know who they had on the always suffer but deserve better tier that caught me off guard? Texas Rangers. How can the Texas Rangers always suffer? They won a World Series. It was a fluke. They got lucky. But still, you can't always suffer if you have a World Series ring. I'll go with recently. And also, how do the Texas Rangers deserve better? Deserve is a strong word. I believe that in the world of sports, deserve isn't a real thing. I believe you get what you earn in sports. Deserve is just not a reality. Deserve, it's just not a thing. But how would Rangers deserve better? So, no, they don't always suffer. This is fans, because it's a ranking of MLB fan bases by how much they've suffered. Ranger fans have not always suffered, and they do not deserve better. So maybe the worst ranking on this entire, and I mean entire tier list, is Texas always suffer but deserve better. There's not, and that's the odd thing though, there's not a category that I think I could put the Rangers, because they don't belong in no fans. Rangers have tons of fans. They don't belong in don't suffer often, because they do suffer a lot more than often. And never had to suffer. Oh, that ain't right. So there's not a good category for them. But I'm sure not putting them on deserve better. No, just no. And I don't think the Astros are, and I am an Astros fan, so I can speak very specifically to this. Never had to suffer a day in their life. Oh, give me a break on that one. Is that someone that just started watching baseball the past 5-6 years? Stop. And then the way that the cheating scandal, and for, I don't know, people that don't understand that every MLB team tries to cut an edge and does, just not buying that. It caught my attention. I figure I'd share it with you too. Speaking, and we are, of Astros Rangers, last night, Chip mentioned it, home run derby at Globe Field. Peterson hit his 4th, Carter hit his 6th, and the Rangers put up an 8 spot in the first, hold on to win 10-7. For me, I'm taking the Astros side on this. Jason Alexander started and got shelled in the first inning, giving up an 8 spot. I would rather celebrate the fact that in the end, he went 6 innings. He gave up 9. But if he gave up 8 in the first, that means he went 5 and only gave up one after that. Saved the pen, settled in. Most pitchers would be so fried, they wouldn't have got out of the first, but he did, and he went 5-1 after that. Save the pen. There's still 2 more against the Rangers. Save the rest of the week, maybe, by what he did after. That's impressive. That shows a certain mental and testicular fortitude at that point. Yordan Alvarez hit 2 home runs. He's now at 18. Pena hit his first of the year, and there was a Cam Smith sighting. Hit his 5th. Astros tried, but it was too deep of a hole. So, game 3 of the 4-game series between the Astros and Rangers tonight, 7:05. And you can hear that game right here on The Zone. Your home for Houston Astros baseball is The Zone. So, Astros Rangers, game 3 of 4, 6:35 pregame, 7:05 first pitch, right here on The Zone. Thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Astros baseball on The Zone and select games on Willie 1550 AM. Our thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. A timeout and a return. This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, where they do residential, commercial, and industrial services. It's what they do at CC Electric. It is the Louie Bellina Show, Wednesday on The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show.
Who is it?
Participation is rewarded. The ticket booth is brought to you by Dixie Tire Company. Listen in weekdays 11 to 2 on The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show. Some more diamond thoughts before we head out the door in our first hour together. I am living in one of the most painful MLB seasons in a long time. The Astros, look, I know they won 4 straight. They're only 3.5 out. I'm going to say something that makes no sense in context of those two things. I would still sell. Once the trade market heats up, I would total rebuild. The dynasty is over. The window to win World Series are over. If you're an Astros fan, you've just come out of, 5 World Series, 2 rings, 7 straight ALCSs. Like, competing to just win the West and be a participant in the playoff has no real substance. If the Astros want to open a second window, if they really want to compete, keep putting Band-Aids on a neck wound is not going to do it. So if they want to be competitive, and I mean like with the Yankees, Dodgers, because during the dynasty, they beat both of them. They're going to have to sell. They're going to have to rebuild. Not just, hey, if everything goes perfectly right, we can win the AL West and then just be a participant. When you've been to the mountaintop like the Astros, when you're the dynasty for about 9 years, participation's cool. It's better than having a losing record, but I'm willing to sell, spend 2 years kind of building to get a second dynasty. So, yes, I'm pro Astros selling, despite only being 3.5 back, because the reality is this isn't a team to contend. But that wasn't where I started. I was like, man, so as I've watched the Astros just throw some of the most awful arms you've seen out there, and then they've had a week and a half now, they've been brilliant. I'm also a Chicago Cubs fan. Chicago Cubs last night helped do something kind of historical. They lost their 10th straight, which, hey, if you're a fan of like certain teams, losing 10 straight is called a day that ends in Y. But the Houston Astros are the first team since like the 2017 Dodgers. I know, the Dodgers, right? That had 2 10-game win streaks in the same year and a 10-game losing streak. Do you know like how by baseball polar you have to be, how manic that is? If you're a fan of a team that has 2 10-game win streaks, hold my beer, and a 10-game losing streak in the same year. And as I've had to, kind of deal with that with my Cubs, the Astros season too. That is, the Cubs have a 10-game losing streak and their record's still 3 games above 500. True story, all of it. I'll be back with Tony Catalina. Between the Stars and the Cubs and the Astros, it has been a long, month and change right now.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country. And Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV. Or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on The Zone.